Hello there guys, LazyBeast here with another video regarding 10.1 today, and this one is going to be 10 tips you need to know about the new patch. And I've even snuck a bonus number 11 on the entry there as well. So let's get stuck straight in. So there's 6 new glyphs to collect from Zaralek Cavern, which is the new zone, which will unlock a new skill and trait for your dragon riding mounts. The new skill is called ground skimming, and what it does is basically when you fly near to the floor and skim across the ground, it's in the name, you're going to regenerate vigor. Initially every 30 seconds, and then when you upgrade to the second rank, every 20 seconds, so there's a nice cool visual effect for this as well, which looks pretty nice. So this will be one of the first things you'll want to do when you get to the Zaralek Cavern, and I highly recommend getting the Dragon Glyphs plugin for the Handy Notes add-on when it comes to getting this. Here's a map for you on the screen anyway, courtesy of Wowhead, but if you get the add-on, it'll mark them on your map. Just make sure to update the add-on on patch day to make sure that the add-on has got all the glyphs in the add-on itself. And now while we're talking about flying, I know that we don't really use any of the flight paths anymore since dragon riding came around, but just so that you're aware, there are some flight paths that are connected to the overworld zones, so you can use them if you want to fly somewhere while you're AFK. When it comes to actually entering these Zaralek Caverns, the fastest way to get in there is from Valdrakken. You just fly straight down towards the Iron Plains and go under the ground there, where Farak makes his entrance in the cinematic. So I do recommend that you don't blast all your vigor charges on your way down to the tunnel, as there are some parts in the tunnel that are going to need you to fly up a bit, making you lose some momentum, and you don't want to be the guy that runs out of momentum and is running across the floor trying to regenerate vigor as everyone flies across his head. So don't be that guy. Do remember that there are 2 other entrances and exits to the caverns. One of them goes to the other side of the Iron Plains, and one of them goes into the Azure Span if you needed to go out that way. The brand new dragon riding mount, the Winding Slitherdrake, I love this model, I think it's really cool. It does come from the campaign, so all you're going to need to do is follow the campaign quests as you unlock them, and it comes in the chapter called Inherited Sin, and the quest that it starts with is called The Worst of the Worst, so when you get that quest, you know you're only a few quests away from getting the mount. And you get the quest to begin the actual whole 10.1 campaign as soon as you log in on patch day, so that one's nice and easy. So the next 3 to 4 tips are all about gear. So first of all, regarding crafted gear, don't worry too much about running out of sparks to make new pieces. In Season 1, initially, we knew we were only going to get 5 at the start of the expansion, so it was quite important to craft the right pieces of gear that were the most beneficial. It's still time gated as to when we get sparks in Season 2, but we will continue to get one of the Season 2 sparks, the Spark of Shadowflame, guaranteed every 2 weeks, without having to rely on pure luck whether we get one or not. So you can keep on crafting new items every so often if you wish, and it is less punishing if you craft an item that doesn't turn out to be as good as you hoped it would be. You'll get your first full spark on May the 9th, so week 0, which coincides with the initial launch of the Dragonflight Season 2, which is pretty good to be fair. Now, if you're wanting to min-max your gear, and you're aiming to get fully mythic geared in a week 3 of the season, then check out this great guide put together by a guy called Larius on Discord, and a few other people as well, that details 2 ways you can achieve that. So it's going to go through how to most efficiently use the new upgrading system to make sure you don't waste any of the flight stones and the crests. And for more information on that new system, if you're unsure about it, check out my latest video all about that. And I'm going to put the link to that video and Larius' spreadsheet in the description. When it comes to flight stones, your characters are going to get a discount if your main has a higher item level piece in any given slot. So this is going to save you quite a bit of currency on your ults. So it is definitely worth putting a lot of effort into the gear on your main character before you think about upgrading any of the gear on your ults. Another little tip when it comes to flight stones is that there is a 2k limit, so do bear that in mind. If you've got any kind of satchel items in your bags, such as the Obsidian Flight Stone, which is going to grant you 100 flight stones when you use it, it's a good idea to just keep them in your bags and don't use them if you're near the 2000 flight stone cap. Only click on them once you actually need the flight stones to avoid overcapping and wasting any. Another tip is a reminder for the Revival Catalyst, so this is going to open on the 13th of June, and we're going to get 1 charge each week automatically. You don't need to do a quest this time round, and I think this is still going to be capped at 6 charges per character, so make sure that you use those on any of your characters that are capped, and even if it's just a change to make a piece of gear into a piece of tier, so you can get the tier set unlocked for the transmog, then at least it's worth using it and not just wasting weeks worth of charges, and it's a good idea to remember this for your ults as well. There has been a change to how gear in your Great Vault works when you kill a raid boss too, so it used to work that you would only get gear in your vault from raid bosses that you had killed that week, but now the way it works is if you kill say boss number 5 in a raid, you're going to get gear in your vault from the loot tables of bosses 1 to 5, not just boss number 5. So this is quite handy if you want to raid on ults as well and you haven't got time to do a full clear. You could aim at killing the bosses later on in the raid to have a wider selection of raid items in your vault that week. Unless of course you are trying to target a specific item from say the first few bosses, but just remember that you do need to kill at least 3 bosses this time round to get a piece of gear from the raid in your vault for a week. So now let's give a tip for Mythic Plus. So for anyone worrying about the Mythic Plus and the changes to the dungeon pool, especially for the older dungeons if you haven't done them before, don't worry about ones like Freehold and Underrot. They have gone through quite a lot of tuning changes to make them pretty nice and easy and less punishing, so that should result in smoother runs for most groups. As well as this, there is no seasonal affix this time round, so none of that stuff to deal with, which is a nice bit of a relief. And changes have been made to the existing affixes, some of the annoying ones have been removed, and there's some new ones which have been quite heavily nerfed too recently. So the difficulty ramp up is a bit less harsh when climbing keys these days, especially when you remember that also the key affix levels have been adjusted, so you only get the first affix at level 7 and the second affix at level 14, so Season 2 is a really good time to start pushing Mythic Plus. One more thing to remember is that cross-faction guilds are coming with 10.1, so if you've got alts on the other faction or friends that you haven't been able to get into your guild yet, get them invited and enjoy the shared guild chat, bank and all the other guild benefits with those characters. The final tip that concerns everybody is that the Sniff and Seek minigame is worth doing. Don't just pass this off as some boring side minigame that's not worth your time, because you can get some decent items from this. So it is sort of time gated, as in you can usually only go on 3 digs per week at a minimum. It's quite simple to complete. Imagine this as the sort of Zeskera Vault of 10.1, but it's just much quicker to complete, taking around 5 minutes per dig. So you can get fairly decent gear from completing these digs. It really isn't tedious to complete, and there's other rewards like rep, some achievements, and some pets to collect, things like that. So it's well worth 5 to 10 minutes of your time for a few times each week. And of course you do get rep with the new faction, the Loam Niffen. And make sure when you're doing this that you speak to Mirrit about clues for other maps to make sure that you get the 3 base digs done per week. And this final tip is specific to only Hunter players, but there are some really nice new Hunter pets coming with the patch in and around the Zaralek Caverns. So there's some new snails, some moths, some shale wings, which are like fire ray things, some rock mice, rodents if you fancy those kind of things, they do look pretty cool, and some new cobras, like 2 serpent types, like a green one and a lava one. They all look really nice, and some of them are exotic, so keep your eyes out for those if you're a hunter wanting a new pet. So I think that was actually 12 tips at the end, but thank you very much for watching guys. If you've enjoyed this video and you like content like this for World of Warcraft and guides and things, if you want more of this from me, please consider leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel for more World of Warcraft content. Alright guys, I've been LazyBeast, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.